be. I hope everyone has had a very good week this week. My week's been pretty good, pretty busy. Lots of work, lots of good interactions with people, talking about health and fitness and all kinds of fun stuff. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram. If not, and you're an Instagram user, please follow me there. RGV Health Coaching there, or Ryan J. Baxter, whatever one you prefer. But we're just started participating in the Healthy Rebellion Winter Rebel Reset, and been doing some blood glucose testing, which is always a fun little thing to do. Right now, most of the community is doing the 7-day carb challenge, which is a really cool way of figuring out which carbohydrate sources work for you and which ones maybe are not so good by testing your blood sugar response to them. I've done that before, fairly good handle on what things work for me and what things don't work for me. But I've just been going through as a check-in for myself and just like checking in my fasting blood sugar. I've been posting that on my stories on Facebook and Instagram lately, and really good results so far. All week long, it's been the 70s, and that's consuming around 350 grams of carbohydrates a day. Not bad. Actually, it's a bit lower than I've ever seen it in the past, consistently in the 70s like that. But interesting numbers, even waking up with mild amounts of ketones in the blood as well. Not in ketosis, not on that 0.5 or above range, but around 0.3 millimoles ketones in my blood in the morning. After consuming 350 grams of carbohydrate today. Not bad. I'm doing pretty good, I think, from a metabolic health point of view. Super. Anyways, that's not really, actually, this is relating to what I want to talk about today. I've been thinking about, I just had someone recently just message me in reaction to my stories. I don't understand. I'm going to be in the 70s and mine's in the 90s. It's like I follow a high protein, low carb diet. Mine's in my 90s, and I'm like, I ate 350 grams of carbohydrates the other day and close to 3,000 calories. And mine's in the 70s. And it's not really a fair comparison, honestly, to compare one individual's number to another, because there's lots of things that can influence someone's fasting blood sugar response. And so it's not particularly a valid thing to do to compare mine to his. And and then just look at our diets, because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into that number in the morning, lots of which we don't have anything to do with food at all. But what I want to kind of tie this into is what I want to talk about is the optimal metabolism for healthy individuals and where you want to be from a metabolic health point of view. And there's lots of, as always, controversy around, should you be burning fat all the time and being ketosis, or try to boost those ketone numbers and the amount of fat you're burning up as high as possible? Or then other people say, well, the body prefers carbohydrates. You should be eating carbohydrates and not consuming a ton of fat, right? Because that's not really what we prefer to burn. And in reality, my mind is the optimal metabolism is one that can do both, right? And what you'll hear, when people refer to this, is a term called metabolic flexibility. And really all that means is you have a metabolism that is not reliant on any given one specific fuel source, fat or carbohydrates, but your body can move from burning one to the other depending on the demands that you place on it, right? So ideally, when you're not very active, like when it's just standing here talking to you, or you're sitting down watching a movie, or you're maybe going out for a leisurely walk or a bike ride or something like that, you're burning mostly fat. Your body is relying on fat because it's much more abundant in your body, right? You have a lot of fat on your body. Even if you're super lean, you still have way more fat on your body than you do carbohydrates or stored glycogen that comes from carbohydrates. And most of the time, you're not moving very intensely. You're moving very leisurely or not moving at all. Makes sense when you're doing something like that you're using mostly fat. But then when you start to put higher demands on your body should be able to move over into burning carbohydrates or glycogen, stored glycogen, right? Because it's a much more quicker burning fuel. It will supply more energy to your body at a faster pace when the demands are high enough. And so it's much more efficient to burn carbohydrates in those situations. And basically and then once you stop moving that intensely, you calm down and you go back to burning fat. And that being able to switch back and forth like that, depending on what you're requiring of the body, is what we refer to as metabolic flexibility. And that is where you want to be from a health perspective. That's the way you want your metabolism to operate. That's what we have done for hundreds of thousands of years. It was never our metabolism was never meant to go to one extreme and the other, meaning we were meant to burn fat 100% of the time, and we weren't meant to burn carbohydrates 100% of the time. Now, clearly, either one of those extremes is possible, right? We have people who eat very high fat diets and eat nearly no carbohydrates. They can survive and perform and do certain things that are sometimes quite remarkable. I would make an argument that maybe they're not, while they might be remarkable, they're not optimal, but it's possible to do a lot without eating any carbohydrates, right? It's a completely optional macronutrient. And then you have people on the other end of the spectrum who slam all kinds of highly processed foods with very high carbohydrate diets, and they also seem to survive, right? Maybe, again, not optimally, right? They might have their fasting blood sugar might be in the hundreds or pre-diabetic range or diabetic range, but they can survive, right? I guess, through some means, through science, you can survive that way for quite a long time. And you can either do it for a fairly long time without having any terribly detrimental effects from it, right? People get away with eating highly processed diets for years and years of their lives before it finally catches up to them, right? So our bodies are highly adaptable from one extreme to the other, but you can tell when someone is at one extreme and the other. And the person who's eating a lot of carbohydrates, they might not be able to go very long without eating any food at all, right? Because they're constantly need to get their blood sugar up. It's constantly dropping and down, going below where normally it should be. And so they need to eat more to get it back up. And you can tell that they're very dependent on carbohydrates. They can't do any kind of fasting at all. Like they trying to fast for 12 hours might be extremely challenging for them. On the other hand, someone who is very much, the fat is a primary macronutrient in their diet and they don't eat very little carbohydrates, their body has prioritized the ability to metabolize fat over any kind of carbohydrates. So when they try to do any kind of high intensity movement or exercise or anything like that, they might just feel a little flat once they go up into that higher intensity range. Might be burning a ton of fat doing it, but it doesn't mean that they're putting out their maximal amount of effort they could if they had a metabolically flexible approach to their diet. Now, that's not to say if you could care less about your performance and you're trying to treat metabolic disease or you have type 2 diabetes or you're pre-diabetic or you have blood sugar issues that, you shouldn't eat in a high fat way to help with that stuff. And you don't care about your performance, you're not trying to perform, you're purely doing it for health. Sure, fine. Eating a low carbohydrate diet for an extended period of time, maybe for the rest of your life, is the best thing for you. And that's perfectly fine. And you don't really care about being able to burn carbohydrates because you don't need to and you don't want to. And if you do, bad things happen, right? So if you have to do it for health reasons, completely fine, right? Same thing if you find that you eat a lot of fatty foods, that if you eat all those fatty foods and your blood lipids go bonkers doing that, and you need to eat more of a higher carbohydrate diet and a lower fat diet to get your blood markers to be in line, and you're only in it for health, right? That is your definition of health. That's how you achieve optimal health. All about to it, right? But I think ideally we want to be able to deal with either a higher carbohydrate diet or a higher fat diet and have our metabolisms be able to handle either one and use the right fuel when we need to. So I think over the next couple Facebook Live, or I keep on saying all the Facebook Lives, but I broadcast these to a wider medium than Facebook. But the next couple of videos I'll do is I'll talk a little bit more how you might get to that place, how you get to that metabolic flexibility and build this optimal metabolism that's able to switch back and forth between carbohydrates and fats and really get to that sweet spot. So if you have any questions or comments or want to hear more about this topic or want me to dive deeper into it, please leave them below in the comment section or reach out to me via my direct messages. And we could definitely I'll definitely try to address them in the coming weeks. This is probably one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I'll have much more nerdy science about it coming out very soon. Hint, hint. But yeah, just from a general high level point of view, I think there's a lot to talk about here, and it's super interesting. And there's a lot of, like I said, controversy between one approach to the other. And in reality, as always, I think there's a happy middle ground where most people should live. So yeah. Again, any comments, questions, concerns, things you want to hear, please drop them in the comments below or direct message me. Like I mentioned last week, I still have a couple spots open for one-on-one health coaching. If you are interested in health coaching, getting some one-on-one help, achieving your goals, performing optimally in your life, please reach out to me. Happy to discuss more about that. You can go to my website at rjbhealth.coach. On the homepage, there's a schedule discovery call button. Click on that, fill out the form, and I'll get back to you. And we can definitely chat more. Or if you just want to reach out to me directly and skip that process altogether, please do that as well. I'm happy to talk about that. And if you want to get all my content that I put out, these videos, just things that I write out to my newsletter, my blog posts, that type of stuff, without stalking me on social media, please go to rjbhealth.coach. And at the top, there's a newsletter link. Click that. Enter your email address, and you can sign up for the newsletter and keep up with everything I'm doing from that point of view. With that, I hope everyone has an excellent weekend, and I will talk to you all next week.